This morning I was taking a walk and just expressing to Jesus things that I appreciate about him, admire. So, of course, his abiding in the Father constantly, being in perfect communion with him and abiding in him. And then I started saying, like, he is so wise. And it dawned on me that the reason why he was wise is because he was constantly abiding in the Father. In doing what he said to do. And then also I started reflecting on how the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. And I think part of that is obedience. And and then the verse came to mind where God learned obedience through suffering. And so then it made me think about how we learn obedience through suffering. And I imagine Jesus as a young boy hearing God's voice say things like, maybe, grab your jacket. You're going to be cold. And Jesus didn't grab his jacket, and then he was cold. And potentially learning to walk in God's ways and recognize his voice through suffering in little ways like that. Where, I mean, that's happened to me before, where I'm leaving the house and I have a random thought pop into my mind, which usually is a spirit. If random thoughts that just pop into our mind are usually spirits. It could be the Holy Spirit, it could be angels, could be demons, potentially could be our spirits, but we need to figure out which spirit is that. That's where the gift of discernment comes in. I wonder if Jesus learning obedience through suffering, being perfected through suffering, if part of that was little things like that, where God communicated to him, bring a jacket, you might get cold. And he's like, nah. And then he was really cold. Or don't touch that, it's hot. And then he touches it and was like, that was hot. I don't know. It was just a thought. And I wonder if that's what that verse means. But going back to the beginning, where the thing that impressed me was him abiding in the Father all the time and being in perfect communion with him and obeying, trusting and obeying, and just the wisdom that comes with that, with abiding, communing, trusting and obeying. And that, I mean, that's how Jesus was able to do what he did. And that's also what is expected of us, is for us to be abiding, communing, trusting, and obeying, and walking in that same wisdom that Jesus walked in, that same power and authority that he walked in. This, like, I mean, it's just incredible. So it got me praying, like, Lord, teach me how to do that. Teach me how to abide. Teach me how to commune with you. Help me to actually trust and obey and walk in your ways. Yeah. Hope that's helpful. If that's helpful, I would love for you to join me on this journey of learning to connect more deeply with God. Please like and subscribe and share with friends. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. What are some things that impress you about Jesus? And what are your thoughts on abiding, communing, trusting, obeying, walking in wisdom, all those things? So would love to hear.